Well, guys, we have a new addition to the channel. I did a little horse trading with a buddy for a Model A Tudor body that I had, and I got this awesome World War II era Pexto Stomp Shear. It's going to need a little fixing up, so let's take a look at it. 1842 Pexto, as you can see from the tag. Model 137G, rated for 18 gauge. Back when things were made in the USA. Being made in 1942, it's not a real stretch of the imagination to think that this was probably used in the war effort. Who knows for what? You know, it's had a rough life. As you can see from the pedal here, it tremble. It's had tons of repairs. Somebody put this piece of angle iron on the cast. The casting's been incorrectly fixed and correctly fixed. It's been brazed. It's been welded on. The welds, of course, break when you try to weld cast, but it's been reinforced. You know, I'm sure that comes from people trying to cut 16 gauge with it and stomping on it real hard. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a little mild restoration on it. We're going to replace some parts. We're missing a few parts. We're going to try to create those parts, get it functioning, maybe make a new pedal for it. The next generation of these that came out in the 60s, late 50s, early 60s, they used half-inch steel with a pipe running across the back for the pegs, and then it has diamond plate for the step. So I think I might make one just like that, and those ones are actually rated for 16 gauge. So maybe they were made just a little bit better. This thing might actually be able to handle 16 gauge when it's all said and done with that pedal. But we're also missing from you can see that's where the pegs go, and that's where the little turnbuckle arms go. We're missing the turnbuckle arms. I would have ran from there up to, you can see right there, up to those brackets. Don't have those, so I'm gonna have to make those. Missing that bolt for the clamp, and we're missing both bolts and springs to pull the clamp up. The spring on that side doesn't seem like it's functioning very well. This side seems to be pulling okay. It does seem to bind a little. So we'll address all of that and see if we can get it back in working order. The blade seems to be in great shape, and the table seems to be in great shape. It does weigh about 1,100 pounds, so getting it unloaded and moving it around is a lot of fun. But follow along, and we'll do a little mini sidebar restoration here between videos on the Roadster and everything else. First thing we're going to do is see if we can get this working correctly. I don't know what the idea was with this, but we're going to go to these, and I think they're the hole for these is supposed to have a stop in the back that keeps it from tightening down and loosening up. So you can tighten it into the stop, and then it just guides itself up and down. It only has one, so I think we will be making do for now. Get that on there finger tight so it'll still move. Let's see. This guy, we're gonna go one on top and one underneath, then a spring, and then one under the spring. And I got the wrong size bolts, about an inch. So we'll probably have to make a spacer or something for that. It's not a real high tension deal. Okay, for the sake of today's video, I'm just going to use 1/2-inch 3/4 sockets and they're cheap ones. They're ones I don't care too much about. I'm going to use those for spacers. And no, I'm not going to leave it like that. But for the sake of not having to go back to the hardware store and try to figure this out right now, I'm going to go ahead and do things that way. You know, the half-assed way. It should work. Fork can slide back underneath it, and then it pinches as it comes down. Holds your material. Next, I'm going to inspect this spring in here. See if we can figure out what's going on with this. Maybe we got a broken spring, or I'm not really sure. Just an old, worn out spring. It's only 70 years old, you know. Shouldn't be wore out yet, right? I bet this thing has been absolutely abused. There's part of the spring. That's why we got no spring tension on this side. Spring is completely sheared into pieces. You can see that spring came out in about 1 billion pieces. And the spring on the other side is actually holding it up right now. Otherwise it will slide, I think, all the way out. So I'm going to have to find a way to brace that from coming down so I can take the other spring out and see if it's broken. Looks like a pretty heavy duty spring, and I'm going to have to get the right length. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. It's about as heavy duty of a spring as they had over at the local hardware store, so we'll see what we got. I think if I shove my dead blow in here, should keep that whole thing from coming down. In theory. Let's get that other spring out and see. This side is at least sitting on the stop. It's a good sign. Yes, I am getting low so that the spring does not blow up in my face when this nut comes off like that. Whew. Got tension. You never know how much exactly. Okay. Oh, there goes part of the spring. There goes part of the spring. At least we might be able to get an estimate on size from this one. It's in more pieces than the last one. Let's see. Yeah. And there's the bottom. Nice. So we need kind of an absurdly thick and long spring. And also taking a guess at the tension, hoping that we can get, I guess, if the thickness of the spring and the length of the spring is about the same, the tension should be close. There's no real way for me to gauge the tension on that spring. With it broken. Try to put this in there. It doesn't seem to be wanting to fall. I can get it to. Oh, okay. All right. Get a little PB blaster. Soak the runners here. And it will get greased again, but the PB blaster should help free that up a little bit. Oh yeah, that's better. So, we'll get measurements on this spring. See if we can find somebody that carries something like that. And we'll hopefully be installing that on the next one. As you can see, the spring is about 16 inches long. That's its expanded length, and it is roughly 1.25 inches wide. I did come back with a caliper and measured that, all the links and everything as well. And I did go back to the store and get those bolts needed. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching.